What was going on in ancient Mesoamerica that caused them to be more susceptible to demonic influences than any of the other civilizations of yore?
People think of stuff like the Aztec religion. People think of the Aztec Empire's imperial religion. There are a lot of Mesoamerican religions around that use some of the same figures. For example, a depiction of the Olmec corn god uses a jaguar, but this belief was part of the shamanism, and even some evidence say that their view of feathered serpent god. Okay, this is really fucking long. I don't care.
Their view of a feathered serpent god may have a lot less important and more of a protector. Damn, this is butchered English. Jim Maffey's Aztec philosophy talks about their philosophy and religion.
A really notable religion is associated with Colimba people. They built tombs and their religion centered around Dog, who would take you through the They would create little dog cultures that they put in the tombs. The dogs... Fuck, man. I almost want to start over. This was so fun.
No, keep going. It's funny. The religion centered around Dog.
I know. Oh, man. Alright, I'll start again. In the middle. Later cultures in the area may have elements of this view. The common view was that if you were kind to your dog, that the dog would take you to the underworld using its tail. Your doggy. The dogs they would have. Shut up. The dogs they would have had are ancestors of the Zutilini, the Mexican hairless dog, and the Chihuahua. Otherwise, you would fall into the waters of the underworld and disappear forever. There is some evidence these people did not have any gods in a traditional sense. They seem to have believed the natural forces could be appeased, but were not quite personal gods.
My Chihuahua will lead me to heaven. Demonic influences? That's a bold statement you got right there, buddy.
Much like homosexuality is a symptom of various parasites, other demonic behavior is also a symptom of other parasites. Mesoamericans were infested with parasites.
That's fun. Good and evil is an illusion. Just because you're taught that doing some kind of human sacrifice or taking someone's life is evil by your parents doesn't mean that it's objectively true. It's just what you have been taught because it benefits the upholding of the structure of your particular civilization and maintaining the status quo of it. The universe is completely indifferent to your ideas of what good and what is bad, and there is no objective good or evil. Sure.
I like the fucking stark contrast where he's like, oh, human sacrifice is relative, and then this guy's just like, gays are parasites. Just like, no in between. Yes, the universe is an unsentient turd. Let's go to sentience, land people.
Sentience is a myth. This is all just a dream. There are no otherworldly consequences to our actions, or stupid artificial constraints humans put on this earth to control people and make sure the elites attain all the power. You think the elites moralize about murder or rape or other sins? Lamau! Murder, rape, sins, lamau!
You know how, according to scripture, after Babel's tower, God scattered some of the proto-nations around the world? I think a group of the ancient Semites, with an affinity to shamanism, were the ones left to their own luck in the American continent and became the natives. Is that Mormon?
Okay.
Sounds like a Mormon thing.
We don't know a lot about Olmec religion. We used a lot of imagery that were repurposed elsewhere in Mesoamerica. However, it clearly meant different things. One notable thing we know is that they had an elite priesthood of dwarves. These dwarves could move between various city-states. The Olmecs believed that dwarves possessed special powers and had the ability to communicate with the supernatural world. They were given special clothing made of turtle shells. That's fucking awesome. They had their own little ninja turtles. They had to have jewelry for their septum and earlobes and sharpened teeth. They were held to do rites and rituals related to rain, lightning, and moons. There is evidence that the rain and fertility gods were the highest. both the dwarves and we're supposed to directly interact with. Part of the reason why we don't have a lot of info about them is because they are an architecture-based culture, rather than our writing or ritual spaces were indicated by statues or special buildings. Huh.
Lots of kinslaying between the Lamanites and Nephites.
Okay. So Cortez was praying that some his god told him to take over the lands by any means necessary, burn the very ships that landed them there. But Montezuma was speaking to his god, and his god told him he wanted sacrifices. Do we have to hold your hand, Anon? Both gods were asking for sacrifices, weren't they? It's the same god, genius. It's you.
Man, I feel like the last part, like, this could have been a genuine response, but that came out of nowhere.
You are the god.
Ancient wisdom right there. This guy's responding to the homosexuality guy. Yeah, I think it was largely their own doing. They were simply a bit off inside, so the thought forms they created reflected that. Oh, that's actually an interesting theory, because I actually know what he's talking about here. It's like
a thought form.
Okay, so for the viewers here that don't know, a thought form is like, it's kind of like a semi-conscious thing that you develop in your mind, usually from like repetitive behavior. So like anytime you get anytime you get into like a habit, it's kind of like because of a thought form, or like a certain mindset that like reinforces itself. It's like a thought form, and like basically the more
Wait,
and more.
Do you mean like a tulpa?
That's interesting. You mentioned that. That's like a related idea. So that's like a more advanced thought form that was given so much like thought and energy, it becomes like fully conscious. But like
people took their fucking imaginary friends to the next level.
yeah. So like a tulpa is like a Tibetan version, and so like the Western, so like a thought form, when it's taken to like a more extreme form, it becomes an egregore, and so that's like the Western version of a tulpa, but like they serve different purposes, kind of.
Okay.
Anyway, benighted imbecile with... Oh wait, who's he responding to? So this is the illusion guy now. Benighted imbecile with no knowledge of the higher cosmic order. Sounds like a priest, though.
He's cursing him. Something very bad happened in Siberia many thousands of years ago. The land where all of these peoples arose from. You either had to develop a psychopath nature and adapt, or you were killed. Same goes for Europeans with heavy, steep admixture. These places were very dangerous and rough. You either toughened up and survived, or you perished. Sure, dude. Yes.
Yeah, I guess, dude. It almost makes you sound like that, the fucking hippie. What's that movie where it's like, that's just your opinion, man.
Oh, the dude?
Yeah, the dude.
Yeah, it's like your opinion. That's true enlightenment. That dude? That's true enlightenment.
Just not giving a shit about anything. Just living in the moment.
Up these guys.
Also, I kind of want to go to like a fucking Walmart in Pembroke one day and just like purposely like wear like pajamas and shit and just like walk around with Dominic shopping and like get a house coat and shit. or like dress like a trashy pimp. One of the two. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true imago.
All shamanistic societies eventually encounter demons. Demons are magnitude stronger than animal spirits or ancestral spirits. Demons promise great power and demand great sacrifice. Societies that took the deal became powerful and brutal. Examples include Aztecs, Vikings, Khazar milkers, Mongolians, Babylonians, Assyrians, Egyptians, and the etc. cult.
Abigail Shapiro contracted a demon for milkers.
There's a demon in each one.
Incubating. Humanizing God and assuming that he operates on the same morals and standards mortals do is one of the most low IQ things you can do.
Damn.
Put some commas in there, dude.
What?
Like humanizing God and assuming he operates, and put humanizing God, comma, and assuming he operates the same morals and standards. Fuck, never mind. Sorry. I don't like that run-on kind of sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I tend not to care really on social media just because it allows me to type shit more easily too. Like for instance, I don't try to capitalize unless I already did half the words, and I'm like, shit, I may as well capitalize everything.
Yeah, but
Like,
commas are great because they kind of emphasize your voice, and there's no voice in
yeah,
your text, so.
I do tend to use commas. I'll agree with that. Yeah. Notice how all shamanistic societies are extremely based.
Demonic. Demonic. He's not replying to it. Demonic.
You just imagine like a big group of people in a circle, and he just says out of nowhere, "Demonic."
He had the mention of like demon like an hour ago, and he's like, "Wait, what?"
he was possessed the whole time, probably. I don't think this guy's spelled right. Moctezuma had received an omen of his end.
Yeah.
You like how instead of commas, just if I can make a paragraph for every line.
Yeah, he's making a poem. Wait. Yeah, no. Morality is a human construct. You're just an idiot. Also, to answer your question, demons are fucking nature, dude. He was a fucking nature, dude. Who is he responding to, though? Oh, that guy.
The guy. Right.
Himself.
The guy who had like a racialized theory on fucking racial spirits or some shit. Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
Alright. Alright. Okay, wait. Who's this fucker responding to? Yeah, no, okay, the guy above. There are external demons and personal demons we create for ourselves. The latter are the kind that Christ has cast out of the demoniacs. The notion that morality is human is, like Darwinism, a cornerstone of modernity. If you accept it, then you inevitably accept materialism and misotheism. I've actually never heard of that word. There is real truth in creation and beyond it. It is fundamental, not a mere extraction. And because truth exists, it naturally follows that certain kinds of conduct are more true to our original divine nature than others. Alhamdulillah. You merely speak from emotion, vile demon. Like I said, you know nothing of the cosmic order and are basing your fatuous modernist statements on precisely nothing.
Yeah.
I had to get in the emotion.
Maramui. People are still around. Currently, they practice their religion that combines Christianity and native beliefs. They believe Jesus as Christ is also a Nuame, or main god. Others in the community practice Catholicism. In the contemporary Humara religion, there exists three prime supernatural forces. God, the Father, is called Vayasi, which in pre-Hispanic times was Onorame, the Great Father. Oh my gosh. He is often associated with the sun. God has a wife called Liorame. I hate these names. Which is associated with the Virgin Mary and the moon. God and his wife live in heaven with their male children called Sucrito, which is a corruption of the Spanish word Jesucristo. Their female children are called Santi, which comes from the Latin word meaning saints, and are sexless beings and natural forces. Riablo. Riablo is a trickster and is the brother of Riosa. He punishes bad people as well. If you give him treats, he will leave you alone. And reading according to the Tarahumara, God and his wife live in the sky as the sun and moon. They clothe themselves in palm fronds because the only other thing that existed was Venus, which was a flea. Okay. God's wife ate this flea, and the world plunged into darkness. People burn 3 crosses with a corn alcohol called Batari to create light. Ryosi became an angry, flooded earth, but left 2 Tarahumara children and taught them to grow corn, squash, and now to faithful to each other in marriage. They have 2 types of medicine men, Ruame, and something like a shaman, someone who practices benevolent magic. Sakurame means something like a sorcerer, or someone who conducts rituals and ceremonies with evil intent. Each ritual is performed requires people to dance. Okay. I regret reading any of that.
I know, it's just a bunch. I find whenever people
Just
tell me,
lore.
like, yeah, it's just lore. It's like half of it's just like name remembrances. They're like, who's this person again? Like, why are you mentioning him? Like there was a point a few times where they just mentioned someone's name. It's not relevant to any of the rest of the story.
Yeah. And it just gives me more questions like, why did she flee?
I find this is true of like a lot of like mythology. It's like, oh, there was this issue that came out of nowhere, so they did something completely unrelated and it fixed it. It's like, why?
It's like when it's like a writer just making their characters do whatever they want for the sake of the story. I mean,
yeah, actually, you know what? It almost reminds me of like something that like my I have this like Swedish friend who's like into like Satanism or whatever, and yeah, I know, and he was saying that like all the sort of entities that he speaks to and shit, they're like it's part of the acausal realm, and like it makes me think of like this shit where it's like actions that are completely acausal to one another, you know, where it's like none of it really makes sense. It just sort of happens.
Okay.
Kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so this guy's responding to, oh yes, dog cult person, and the Cortez and Montezuma are worshiping the same god, dude. This is actually very lovely. I like beliefs that guide people to be kind to animals and nature, even if it's some benefit of their own at the end. Good one.
I like that too. That's good. I like even like that dog culture. If that was like the main religion, that'd be fine because it would treat dogs well. Yeah. Anyways, Christ, yawn.
So arrogant. Okay, what is that guy? The supercharger dip.
Okay.
Is he talking about the image? I think so.
Don't know. Who Aztec people are an example of people who become subjugated by the Aztec. They're still found around, but they don't worship the same religion they used to. The religion centered on Ixtacatl, the wind god. This god was identified with the wind, which was also seen as a life force and a god of dreams. After subjugation, he was included in the Aztec pantheon as well. They split from the Maya linguistically and were known for large reliefs and circular pyramid structures. Esther had a different version of Quetzalcoatl, who is portrayed as a naked youth covered in tattoos and with a dwarf on his back. That's awesome. He was beneath the sun god and is seen as paving the road for the movement of the sun, identified with Venus. The young figure may be a way to represent the rising of the rays of the sun. There is some evidence that the elected kings were seen as being apotheosized into gods too. Okay.
Actually, that's a common belief. I've seen this idea quite a bit in different religions.
Yeah. One day I'm gonna become a god because I've
yeah.
Easter.
Same. it's a good goal to aspire to. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an apotheosized god king.
First, I must become prime minister.
Oh man. Here's the short answer. Just do magic cactus. No. The long answer is that demons aren't what your Sunday school led you to believe. Okay.
Who's laughing? Who's laughing? Who's laughing? The laughing lad. His name is the laughing lad.
I was wondering why you kept saying that.
Okay. The laughing lad. His name is the laughing lad.
It is. It sounds like a dwarf name. It's like a gnome's name.
Wow.
I don't. Okay, he's responding to the guy who said good when he said that, I guess. Okay, non-dual tods are cringe. Okay.
I don't know what that is.
It's like...
Why am I so... Okay.
No, I can explain it. So, you know, when it comes to morality, right, or like, especially like religious morality, there's like, dualism is like good and bad, right? It's like yin and yang, negative, positive, good and bad, all that shit, right? It's kind of an Eastern and Western concept. Like, a lot of them have this, like, dualistic theme of this or that.
Sure.
And, like, a lot of modern philosophy is, like, more relativistic and, like, subjective, so it's kind of against that. So, anyway,
Sure.
he's basically in favor of, like, the old dualistic way. Anyway.
Why am I so obsessed with pirate culture and ancient conquistadors? Why do I want to colonize? Okay.
A question I want to ask is, from an atheistic lens, is why is it when food is plentiful there is more violence, or is it or it is common? Yet when food is scarce, people gather together, i.e. winter. I would suggest an abundance of food causes peace, but after everyone ate and takes a nap, they wake up with energy and don't know what to do with it. So they accuse and witch hunt each other. We are tribal animals, but why?
You could believe in meta-ethical naturalism or meta-ethical non-naturalistic realism without being a theist. Who's he responding to?
Morality is a human construct. This guy definitely took like at least one course in philosophy. Just his language, I can tell. Elaborate, senpai? Okay.
Aztec scripture is remarkable.
Sculpture!
Another sculpture.
It's not even saying architecture, it's a sculpture.
Okay, well, now for another Aztec lore dump. Coatlicue is represented as a woman wearing a skirt, riding snakes and a necklace made of human hearts, hands and skulls. Her feet, hands are adorned with claws, and her breasts are depicted as hanging flaccid from pregnancy. Her face is formed by two facing serpents. I remember this. After her head was cut off, by the blood spurt forth from her head in two forms of two gigantic serpents, referring to the myth that she was sacrificed during the beginning of her present creation. According to Aztec legend, Coatlicue was once magically impregnated by a ball of feathers that fell on her while she was sweeping a temple. And subsequently gave birth to the god Huitzilopochtli, her daughter Coatlicue, and rallied Coatlicue 400 other children together and goaded them on to attacking and decapitating their mother.
What the fuck?
The instant she was killed, the god Huitzilopochtli slowly emerged from her womb, fully grown and armed for battle. Oh, like Athena. He killed many of his brothers and sisters, including Quaxaquac, whose head she cut off and threw into the sky to become the moon. In one variation on this legend, Quaxaquac himself is the child conceived in the ball of feathers incident and is born just in time to save his mother from harm. Yep, okay.
This almost reminds me of like the Saturn myth of like, you know, when he gives birth to his three kids try to kill him to become like the next line of royalty or whatever. And like I don't know why it's always like there's like that's the common thing of like killing your parents.
Yeah, the gods.
Wait, I forget. Why did they even want to kill their mother again?
I don't know.
This person rallied. That's all. It's like, come on, guys, we can do it. I believe in you.
Mom was just sweeping. She was sweeping. The god was sweeping. Yeah, in a temple, and she accidentally hit like a little fuzzball, and it turned out to be a bunch of feathers, and that impregnated her. It's like, okay.
Yeah, again, it's like non-causal as fuck. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, this happened, therefore that, and then it's almost like saying, yeah, it was windy today, and therefore the sky became purple, and because of that, I had to take a shit.
Coatliclue's face is actually really cool. Like her two serpent heads, like they're two serpent heads like facing each other.
Yeah.
If you look at they're facing each other, but if you look at it like straight on, it looks like a human face. See? Isn't that cool?
Yeah, you're right. It's almost like when you put something into like a mirror image and then it, you know.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Alright, so this guy is responding to more susceptible demonic influence, this guy. Or no, actually the guy did both. They had access to Pornhub and all the SEMA demons there, is what I'm saying. Of course.
Okay. They learned it all from the rainforest. Who was it talking to?
We was... This guy's talking to the OP.
Okay. This.
This thread took a real downturn.
Yours.
Oh.
Your turn.
Oh yeah, shit. The comet that ended the dinosaurs was evil. That will last forever. It came out of nowhere.
Lol, I remember my moralism phase. Yeah.
Okay. Bad boy! Some deleted response.
Always said something super funny. Can you make that image larger? Let's see what it says.
It's all in Spanish.
Fucking. Never mind then. I have had the privilege of praying Kikiri with the Riracas. As a Mexican, it changed very deeply the way I understand myself. There is a good book by Antonin Artaud, one of the few right people who have grasped peyote. Antonin Artaud, and Vodaj Umpez on. Oh, fuck off.
Damn. Alright, so this guy's responding to good is an illusion. Okay. Polarity, negative and positive, magnetic and electric, in-pulling and out-pushing. Good and bad is simply an expression of these two energies, which complete the whole. So while your sentiment holds some truth, the quality of that truth is essentially incomplete and thus weaker than the higher truth that exists. Do bad things, go to jail. It's okay, the universe is indifferent. Drop soap. The manifest matters, as does the unmanifest, which does not exist without the other. The quality of the energy you hold within you determines the quality of your experience here. Make it count. What a wise wizard. Alright.
Okay. Desert nomads tribes create monotheist religions, while jungle forest tribes create polytheist religions. When you have one source of water, food, shelter, and you're surrounded by death, it is obvious you think there's only one God. The opposite happens when you are surrounded by life. There you see spirit everywhere. That's kind of cool.
That's an interesting theory.
I know a lot of like larger civilizations eventually just become like monotheistic over time.
Yeah, I don't think this is like a fully fleshed out theory, but maybe as like a general truth it might be right. Like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think, like he said desert, so it's not just like steppes he's speaking of. Like there's a few deserts in North America even, and like I don't think they believe in just one God. Like I don't know, it doesn't seem completely right. But maybe there's some general things that can be taken from this.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, here's the laughing lad again. And he's responding to the guy. Okay, right. This guy, the tribalistic animal human dude. Because this is what happens when we link too heavily to the material world and forget about the Tao. If things are too abundant and we focus on them, be it fruit or money, people will begin to hoard these things. When people hoard, they create an imbalance. The rich man has to worry about people coveting his things. Someone who doesn't have as much decides to steal what the other person has too much of. The poor man has to worry about not having enough. But the man who takes what he needs and no more doesn't have to worry about whether of those things because he's imbalanced. Damn, I wouldn't have taken the laughing lad to be a Taoist. I would have expected him to be like the leprechaun or something. Alright.
Does seem like a leprechaun. You say, and I quote, I can't see. The ayahuasca brings about the corn demon in the squats. Did you say that? That clockwork elf had a sense of self. What is that? That clockwork elf had a sense of self.
This guy's schizophrenic. And this guy just says, high humidity.
Midwit detected.
Morality's a human construct. Okay, that guy. And damn, there's
not a nitwit.
There's like so many people that like bash this guy and the relativist guy. Yeah, a lot of people.